Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Today is going to be an amazing video. Sit back and relax. I promise you it's going to be great. We're going to talk about the global economy, and I'm going to tell you my own personal plays when it comes to cryptocurrency, stocks, and real estate. And I definitely changed my mind with what's happening in the economy due to the economic pressures that's happening all around us. And you would be a fool not to pay attention to what is happening. With that said, you see how far back I'm sitting? I got my mic over here, so this sounds good. A lot of people are complaining that my head is a little too close to my screen, so it is what it is. I'm going to be talking about the United Kingdom. I'm going to be talking about Germany and the European Union, and then I'm going to be talking about the United States. It's very, very important, so pay attention. Liz Truss is the brand new Prime Minister of the United Kingdoms. The Queen passed away. When the Queen passed away, everybody was paying attention to that. All the news outlets, all the media, all the articles, everything was about the Queen, 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 and rightfully so. Now that the Queen passed away, all the news stories are done. The news, they're like YouTubers. They're looking for the best clicks, the best likes, and the best articles that they could report on. What's the next best thing in the UK? Obviously, the Prime Minister of the UK, Liz Truss. Around a week ago, Liz Truss comes up with a brand new economic plan for the United Kingdoms. And the economic plan, to make it really, really simple, is she's reducing taxes and incentivizing business or entrepreneurship, as they say. Just to give you a quick synapse, personal income tax was maximum 45%. Now it's 40% max. Business corporate taxes, now maximum 19%. They wanted to raise it to 25%. They nixed that, 19%, which is the lowest of all G20 countries. 1.25% they were going to add for national health insurance because they have like a national health insurance in the United Kingdoms. Everybody gets seen. Shout out to Palantir. Hopefully you guys can revamp that entire system. They're nixing that too. It was supposed to be paid by employers and employees. They removed that. Income tax, baseline income tax from 20% to 19%. Duty-free taxes on alcohol, things like that. Also revamping the system instead of an analog system to a digital system. And they're essentially just trying to increase productivity, trying to increase corporate production, trying to increase corporate flow, pretty much. Right now is a recession. Believe it or not, it's a recession. Anybody that's telling you there's no recession is wrong, and we're actually on the brink of a depression. I'm sorry to break it to you, but we are on the brink of a depression. Not saying we're going to get it or not, but stay tuned and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, during a recession, during inflation, you want to slow down the economy, not ramp up the economy. So when she did that, she literally tanked the British pound. Do you remember, not too long ago, for every British pound, you needed to pay like $1.50 US. Well, now the British pound and the US dollar are pretty much on par. Matter of fact, so is the euro. And the euro was also a lot more expensive than the US dollar. Interesting what's happening, so please pay attention. Because the British pound is going down, the Bank of England decided to buy up bonds. Instead of selling their books, they are now buying for their books. What is this? This is literally the money printer. 100%. This is what you mean by money printer. 65 billion pound, which is pretty much $65 billion. They're going to inject this into the economy. Not to mention subsidies for energy costs due to the geopolitical war with Russia and Ukraine and the energy crisis in Europe. Because she did this, she is literally fast forwarding this recession, which the Bank of England already says that UK is in, and they're not going anywhere good. It's going to go from bad to a lot worse, possibly teeter-tottering on terrible. UK brings us into Europe, and Europe is headlined by Germany. Germany has an energy crisis, an energy problem. When Donald Trump told them that they're too dependent on Russia, European Union laughed at him, Germany laughed at him. And I don't want to be insensitive, but sometimes the crazy orange man that everybody used to make fun of him says something that's correct.
Germany will become totally dependent on Russian energy if it does not immediately change course. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we are committed to maintaining our independence from the encroachment of expansionist foreign powers. It has been the formal policy of our country since President Monroe.
In any case, 200 million euro, which is approximately $200 million, is also going to be injected into the German economy as subsidies. And they call it the shield, the German shield for energy. The problem is with the UK and Germany and everybody, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And I would hate to be in their position. I truly would hate to be in their position. However, what's happening in the UK is counterintuitive to what the world is saying. You're kind of doing like what Turkey did. Instead of raising interest rates, you're lowering interest rates, even though inflation is through the roof. Kind of like that. And I think that it's a recipe for disaster. Now, Liz thinks that it's going to work out, and I honestly hope it does for her. This leads us to European Union. UK is 5th largest economy. Germany is 4th largest economy. The European Union is going to have a breakout inflation. German inflation was at 8.8%, and today was announced that it hit 10.9%, nearly 11%. Keep in mind, this is a first world nation, the strongest economic powerhouse in Europe. And for inflation to be at nearly 11% and an economic stimulus of 200 million euro on top of already what was given is unfortunately a recipe for disaster. The problem is it's not going to get any better. They're scrambling for coal and trying to come up with different ways of getting energy, and I feel for them, and this absolutely sucks, but unfortunately, it is not going to get better. The winter is coming, and it's just going to get worse. Where this ends, I don't know. Because the German inflation went up, Eurozone's inflation is going to go up as well. And because of the geopolitical tension, the war, special operation, whatever you want to call it, it's not going to get better anytime soon. Vladimir Putin decided to ramp up the attack, annexing 15% of Ukraine. Now it's part of Russia. Ukraine's going to defend their country. Russia's going to say, you're not defending your country, you're invading our country, because now Donetsk is our country. And who knows where this ends. The entire time as the world economy is going to shit, the best of the worst is the United States economy. And what's happening right now is very similar to what happened in World War II. At the end of the day, while everybody's fighting and going crazy, the United States is going to prosper the most out of this. And as you can see, the US dollar is pretty strong. I actually bought into an ETF bullish for the US dollar, and I put in some calls for early next year because I think the US dollar is going to get stronger and stronger as the US economy is going to get obliterated less than the other economies, if that makes sense. It's not that the US economy is going to be good, it's they're going to be a lot better than the other economies who's going to be bad. So US economy bad, UK bad, Europe bad. Or maybe the UK is bad and Europe is bad. This might cause a run for the US dollar. As all the other currency is going to get devalued, people run for the strongest currency. The strongest currency is the reserve currency of the world, the US dollar. As that's going to happen, there is something called the milkshake theory, where the best of the worst is last to collapse. And when that happens, everything goes to shit. So this is going to prop up the United States dollar, inflate, and whoosh, blow it up. Shout out to my Patreon members. We've been talking about the milkshake theory. I learned so much from them. We all learned together, and I appreciate the entire wolf pack. I shared my theory with them around a week ago, and I share my plays with them. What am I personally doing? I don't think the world economy is going to get any better. I think that we're currently in a recession in the United States. The GDP numbers just came out, and they reiterated what we already knew. And we are in a recession for the last 2 quarters. If you go to the Atlanta Fed, they're currently saying that our GDP growth for the third quarter is 0.3. If you go by history, they're not 100% right. And last time, their GDP numbers were higher than what came in. So I actually believe that we're going to have a third negative quarter of GDP. And I'm not the only one to say this. And a couple of economists have been starting to say this when they're going on the media. If this happens, we'll be very close to something called a depression. A depression is 4+ negative quarters of GDP. I'm not saying we're going to get it. I'm not saying we are not going to get it. I'm just saying I'm scared shitless. And that's why I got rid of my margin. That's why I got rid of my leverage. That's why I'm reducing my bills as much as possible, because things are about to get worse, in my personal opinion. And if they don't happen to get worse, fantastic. I'll ride the wave up and I just won't make as much gains because I sold out on some of my positions. But if things do get worse, I want to make sure that I don't have to pay every single month margin, every single month leverage. And I'll wait until I sell my property in Jersey. So I sold out of my position in Unity. I sold out of my position in NVIDIA. I sold out of my position of a couple of other stocks. I held every share I have of Palantir. I actually added more today. I held every share of Tesla that I have. I actually added more today. And then I have a couple of other shares of different stocks like Ginkgo Bioworks, HIMS. I kept those. I don't have enormous positions of those. Maybe between the two of them, I have like 20, 25,000. So it's nothing crazy. For my cryptocurrency, I had several Bitcoins. I got rid of my Bitcoins. I ended up buying more algorand. And the reason why I bought more algorand is because I can get my staking rewards, AKA governance. So this is a positive, not a negative. So even if algorand fluctuates, at least I'm getting rewards, which I could use for my monthly income. Besides for that, I paid off what? My margin and my leverage. So now I have zero margin and zero leverage when it comes to crypto, and zero margin and zero leverage when it comes to stocks. So I'm not worried about getting margin called. Real estate. I'm currently in the process of selling a property in New Jersey. I was actually supposed to sell it last month. It didn't work out, and that was supposed to pay for my margin and leverage. But it is what it is, and sometimes we have to shift and pivot and take a smaller loss now, not to take a larger loss later. When I sell that property, that's going to free up several $100,000 for me. Those several $100,000, I'm going to be buying real estate next year. So I thought that real estate might bottom out in the middle to third quarter of next year. But now I'm thinking it's going to be third quarter, fourth quarter of next year, maybe first quarter of 2024. So basically, I added around 6 months of the economic turmoil that I thought was going to stop earlier, but now I think it's going to be prolonged by 6 months. Eventually, this is going to stop. Eventually, the rates are going to start coming down. There is going to be a shift and pivot, but I don't think that the Federal Reserve is going to be doing it as soon as I thought and as soon as people thought, because of everything that's happening around us. Things just are not going down. Today, we got the jobs report. Everybody's employed, and the Fed wants unemployment. As long as Fed has employment, they're going to be as aggressive as needed, as hawkish as needed, because they're going to say the economy could take it without us completely destroying the economy, right? Because there's a battle right now. How hard can you turn the faucet or close the faucet, right? Without collapsing everything. So I'm going to be buying real estate. I'm going to be buying and flipping. At the time, nobody's going to be buying real estate. When the interest rates are going to be 7-8% for a mortgage, if you have cash, you are golden, you are king. Everybody that's done real estate knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to be flipping real estate. Eventually, I am going to buy and hold and collect rental income. For my stocks, I started doing option swing trades and also selling covered puts, selling covered calls. And I do them at a very wide margin. So I make a little bit, but I'm probably not going to get called. Worst case scenario, I sell some of my shares. Worst case scenario, I buy some more shares. And what am I playing with? Palantir, because I have a shit ton of shares. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. There goes my stocks, there goes my crypto, and there goes my real estate. Guys, if you like this type of content, please give me the like, share, and subscribe. This video is already going a lot longer than I wanted it to go. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. And I can't give you advice. This is purely entertainment and educational purposes only. But I truly do believe that this is going to get a lot worse than it is going to get better. And now all I could tell you is make sure you don't owe money, get rid of your margin, get rid of your debt, make sure that you have some cash on the sides. And if you don't have cash on the sides, do something to be able to bring in extra cash. That's why I bought more algorand, so I can have an extra cash flow. Eventually, this will pass. That eventually, when it will pass, I cannot tell you. And you want to be in a position where when it does pass, you have stocks, you have crypto, you have real estate, so you can ride the wave, which is going to be extremely, extremely vicious. Nothing changed from what I said before, except I'm just adding more time to the recession that we are having. I knew we had a recession. I called a recession before the media said recession. I'm not a genius. A lot of us called it. But I do think that the recession is going to last longer than I thought. Instead of the middle or third quarter of next year, fourth or first quarter of the year after. But if you invest, you're in prime position to make money when this thing recovers. And if you're not invested, you're in prime position to be in the same place you are right now for the rest of your life. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, and have a great day.